I am sorry to all of my fans of this series that I've abandoned, but I'm back and I'm here to stay. And how about to just get into it and tell you what Lego sets I'm going to build today. And today I'm going to build all 4 of the newest Lego Minecraft sets. And yes, I know that Lego has released even newer Lego Minecraft sets already, but we are going to talk about that a little bit later. So as I had already mentioned, I'm going to build all of the newest Lego Minecraft sets, and that includes the Axolotl House, the Iron Golem Fortress, the Crafting Box 4.0, as well as the Pumpkin Farm. So how about I stop yapping and get to building? So I'm first going to build the Pumpkin Farm, which is a set based in the Swamp biome, and something that I find pretty interesting is how we have gotten 3 sets based in the Swamp biome in a row. We first got the Swamp Adventure and then the Pumpkin Farm, and now we're going to get the Frog House, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So a place where I'm going to build the Pumpkin Farm is going to be right next to the mangrove tree, so I'll build the other mangrove tree right next to this one, so let's go. Okay, so this is the Pumpkin Farm, all built up. So how about we start from the left side? So this is the mangrove tree. Once again, the tree design isn't accurate to actual Minecraft mangrove trees, but that is fine. The build for the tree was fine, but it did have to change the size of the leaves canopy because the leaves in the Minecraft set aren't accurate. No surprise there. But yeah, the tree looks fine, and then the build for the actual pumpkin was also pretty decent. Now I did have to include some stairs and slabs for the roof to make it accurate to the set, so I did have to use a different orange block, so that is also pretty inaccurate, but it still looks fine. And the one thing that I do really like is how I made the stalk of a pumpkin. Then in the right side we have this little farm which looks fine, and the back of the house unfortunately isn't covered up, and the inside is fairly simple but accurate. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about some plans. First of all, I'm really hoping that the frog house will be able to fit in this gap one way or another, then the swamp biome will look very complete. There's also this hole in between the swamp and plains biome, and so I will try and find a small Lego Minecraft set based in the plains biome that I can build over here, but it isn't too big of a deal right now. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that the pumpkin house doesn't have a back wall, which looks very awkward. So I might also try and find a set based in the plains that I can build right up against the pumpkin house to give it a back wall. So for now that will be it, and for any of you wondering, here's how the separation looks between the plains and swamp biome. Alright, so now let's go back to my fishbowl where all of my underwater sets are built. So next set that I'm going to build is going to be the axolotl house, and this set also doesn't have a back wall, and the way that I'm going to cover up most of the back wall is by simply building the axolotl house right up against this side of the ocean monument. So let's get to building. Okay everybody, so this is the set built in Minecraft, and I think it looks very cool. It was a fairly simple build, which is always nice, but yeah, let me take you through some of the details. So first of all, we have this side of a build which has some coral on top and also a chest hidden away in the sand. I don't really like how this side of a build looks, just because it looks very tall and doesn't blend in well with the terrain, but there wasn't any other way to build it, so this will do for now. I of course do like all of the coral, it blends in well with the other underwater sets. Now the face is very simple, but what I especially like is how I was able to make the gills of the axolotl. Now in the actual set, the gills look like they aren't possible to make, but if you think outside of a box, there are certain blocks that you can use to get the same shape and size, and so to make the gills I used crimson trapdoors, which are the same color of block like in the actual set, and the width and size is pretty much perfect. Now the way to get into the house is from the back, and thankfully the axolotl house was a tall enough build that there are a few gaps we can swim through since we are underwater, but the gaps aren't tall enough for a mob like the drowned to get inside. Smaller mobs can definitely accidentally swim inside like dolphins and axolotls, but there isn't really anything else that I can do since I of course want to be able to access the house myself. Now the inside of the house is also a pretty interesting situation because as you can see, water falls inside the house, which is a little bit awkward, but once again, without limiting access to the house or without changing the design from the Lego one, there isn't anything that I can do, so this will have to do. But at least the view from the windows look nice, or at least from one of them. Alright, so the next set that I'm going to build is going to be the Iron Golem Fortress, and I'm going to build this set right up against the Bedrock Adventure set. So how about I talk about the set once I've actually built it. Here's the ground floor. The second floor, we have one arm, we have a second arm, we have both of the towers and also the head. Nice. Alright, so this is the set built in Minecraft, and let me tell you, it took quite a while to build the whole set, but the final result looks spectacular. Now, as always, the set has a few inaccuracies, so how about we start off with that? So first of all, the Iron Golem's arms are 1 block taller than the actual set, which honestly isn't too big of a deal, because it still looks great. I also had to make the top of the towers bigger. So another big inaccuracy is the Iron Golem's unibrow. So to make the unibrow, I used trapdoors, so when looking for a front, it looks pretty alright. When you look at the side, it looks a little bit awkward and inaccurate. Now, there were also some other inaccuracies, but they aren't too significant. Now, the way that I made the Iron Golem eyes is by using banners, and the design for the banners are very simple. You first do this, then this, and this, and for the other eye you do the same, just change out the side of where the red pupil is supposed to be. Now, you might be wondering, does this set have a back wall? And guess what? It doesn't. It is completely open, but everything actually worked out perfectly, which I will explain a little bit later. The one awkward thing about the set is the fact that there isn't any proper access to the second or third floor, as well as to the towers. Now, it would have maybe made sense if one of the characters would have had an elytra, but there isn't an elytra included in the set, so yeah. Now, I guess one way that you could climb to a third floor as well as jump to the towers is by using the vines on the side of the arms, but it's still a little bit awkward. But everything still turned out perfect, at least in my Minecraft Lego world, believe it or not. So how about to show you the inside of a set? So the first floor is very cozy. There's a table with some iron ore, as well as a chest and blast furnace, and all of this blends in well with the story, because I built this set right next to the Bedrock Adventures, which is sort of like a giant mine. So after the players come from a long day of mining, they can smelt all of their ore, either in a regular furnace or a blast furnace if they are in a rush, and later put the ore in the chest, and the iron on the table is a nice touch of detail. Now, the second floor has 2 beds as well as a lantern, and there is access to the second floor, because once again I built it right next to the Bedrock Adventure set, and right next to that set I built the Training Ground set, which has multiple places of access to get to the top. So all 3 of these sets blend in fantastically with one another, which makes for a very cool build and atmosphere. Now, it is a little bit awkward that any mob can walk into a place where players might sleep, but there isn't really anything that I can do about that, so hopefully not too many creepers will spawn in this area. Now, you might be wondering, well, how will you get to the head of the Iron Golem? Well, the Bedrock Adventure set also had access to all of the floors, as well as a third floor, so you can climb both of these ladders, walk down this path, and then jump into the map room. And yes, this room has 3 maps, and the actual set does only have 2 maps, but I did have to change it a bit once again. This is the first time I had built a set with a map, so now we can see my world from above, and anytime I will build a new set with a map, we will be able to see how much my world has updated, since there is still quite a lot of empty green space left. But I mean, yeah, that is pretty much it about the set. So now I will talk about my plans. So when looking at this set, it really reminds me of a desert, since I have used a lot of sandy blocks for this build. So I'm potentially thinking of building all of the desert sets in front of the Iron Golem Fortress, since LEGO have only made a handful of sets based on the desert. And then behind all of the desert sets, I could make the sets based on the Mesa Badlands. Now, I know that there are still a lot of sets based on plains biome that I have to build, but I think it could be a pretty fun change to build some of the desert sets in a video. So do tell me in the comments what you all think of that. Right, so the last set that I have to build is going to be the Crafting Box 4.0 set, and unfortunately this set only has 2 different options. So if I get number 1, I will build this option with these 2 towers, and if I get number 2 on the random number generator, I will build this option with a cat house. So let's see what I get. Alright, so I just got number 1, which is fantastic. Alright, so I've just finished building the Crafting Box 4.0 set, and I've built it in the middle of nowhere, but this will most likely be a temporary location. So how about to just talk about the actual set? So the build was thankfully not too difficult. There are still a few inaccuracies. For example, the trees aren't accurate to actual vanilla Minecraft trees. No surprise there, though at least we are consistent with all of the other oak and birch trees that I've built so far. Now, a big inaccurate thing is this door frame, which is impossible to make, so I did have to change the design a little bit. Now, the actual set does cover up quite a lot of space, but most of it is flat. So how about we look at the left side first? So on the left side we have this orange tower, and at the front of it is a pen, as well as other basic things like a chest and barrel. On the first floor there is an armor stand, and on the second floor this is a sort of small TNT launcher. I will fix that later. And on the third floor there isn't anything. Now as y'all can notice, there isn't any access to the different floors on both of the towers, which is definitely unfortunate. In the middle of its set there is a bridge that goes over a river, which looks great. So now let's move on to a taller tower. Bottom floor nothing, second floor bed, third floor bed, and fourth floor a furnace. But yeah, that is pretty much it, and thank you for watching. I'm sorry if this video took so long to make. I'm tired.